Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot and welcome to the second attempt of recording the general reading for Pisces for July 2021. So Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever area of your chart you're wanting to look at. And as ever, there is a couple of links in the description so that you can get yourself a free birth chart. You need to know your time of birth to get your rising sign. And once you know your rising sign, always watch and listen to your rising sign as well as your sun sign. If you only get to watch one, go for the rising. So, general reading rules apply. Timing's far from absolute. If someone else turns up in this reading, then it's quite possible that I might get you and them mixed up. Not that likely, but it can happen. Now, these are different to a lot of the tarot readings that are out there on YouTube because I would ask you to take the whole thing en masse or not. It's not a take what resonates. There is a past and a present on this spread. So if the past and the present do not fit, don't try and make it fit. Reading's not for you. Go and watch your rising sign. Go and watch your moon sign. If they do fit, listen to the whole lot, take it on board and consider it. Because hopefully most of what I'm telling you will be confirmation of stuff you already know. That's how it's supposed to work anyway. Now, the other way that you can figure out if it's your reading or not is what I'd like you to do is ask a question prior to the reading. So take a moment and think about all of the questions that are around you. Focus upon one of them, but be aware of all of them because cards will answer what they please. And it's not always with the same sense of priority that you and I have. You know, there's... but more often than not, they're right and we're wrong. So there's also a link down there for the Facebook page for this channel. So you can see where I post new videos because I'm not big enough yet for YouTube to necessarily tell me. But thank you to all returning subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so because it really does help the channel. And at the end of the reading, if you felt the reading was good, please hit that like button. It helps the video get seen. But the most important thing about that Facebook page, as well as me posting these videos, and sometimes the astrology videos I watch, but the most important thing is it's got its own inbox. So if you want to contact me directly for a personal reading, that's the best way to do it. There is a link tree down there that can take you to my email if you don't use Facebook, but really Facebook's where I'm likely to find it. It doesn't get caught in a spam folder or anything. So if you've asked your question, because I think that's all my, well, no, I've just got to tell you, I started this reading, God, it'll be 20, 30 minutes ago now, and then the computer melted. You know, the graphics card had gone or something, and it sounded like it was blowing up. So it's taken me a while to repair the computer. So I think that this is quite possibly an important reading. So now I've said that, let's get on to the cards. So, how you're feeling at the moment, we have the Chariot, and the Nine of Cups. So you're working towards goal fulfillment. You're working towards wish fulfillment. And what echoed in my mind as I saw those two Chariot cards was Chris from Minnow Pond saying the Chariot card is a card of victory. Now, I don't totally hold with that because it can also be a card of being pulled in two directions. But with two Chariots here, I don't get that pulled in two directions. I'm getting that sensation of progress. So how you're feeling, that's reasonably okay about your general direction. However, right in the middle here, which is the present moment, we have the Tower card, clarified by Four of Swords and Nine of Swords. So I'm using the Spellcaster Tarot, the Wheel of the Year Tarot, and this month I was led to pick up the Dark Grimoire Tarot, which is not my favourite one, but I'm rather seeing that certain structures are falling down around you, or certain structures about how you are thinking are collapsing around you, and that's causing you stress. Which is curious because it's almost like that stress is welcomed as a symptom of progressing towards your goals, but oh my God, it's stressy. You know, there's now when the computer melted, I had pulled a card from my Tower Takeover Tarot because, as you probably know, if you've watched me before, I like to clarify the Devil card with the Demon Possessed Tarot from Bloodstone Studios, and now I have this Tower Takeover Tarot. If you like buying tarot, don't go onto Kickstarter. You will never have any money ever. But when I saw these, I was like, oh, that's perfect. So what I pulled was the Sun. So what is making you happy is the structure that is falling down. Now, the way I've just said that can sound quite negative, but what I'm meaning is things that you thought made you happy before just aren't making you happy anymore. And you're like, yeah, I need to rebuild that bit of my tower because it's collapsed already. And there is a lot of introspection this month because Four of Swords at the top here, Nine of Pentacles right beneath, what is underlying. And the thing is, you are being deliberately confused. Not that you are going, I'm going to be confused, but the world, spirit, whatever, is deliberately confusing you so that you are asking the correct questions. And now this has been a process that has been going on for some time because we have, in the recent past, we've got that Hanged Man card. You're being forced to look at things differently and, excuse me, you are also being delayed on your forward progress. Even though you're well aware that that forward progress is happening, acutely aware that I know I'm heading in the right direction, doesn't seem like much is happening in the real world. However, the other thing underlying your tower moment here, one of the reasons why it's coming about, or one of the driving forces, is actually the Ten of Cups, which, as you know, with the Sun and the Ten of Cups are the two biggest happy, happy, joy, joy cards. So that is, you're shaking yourself free of various, I thought this made me happy and it doesn't. So I'm going to look within, because we also have here from the Gateway Oracle, Simplifying Your Life. You could call it the Maria Kondo card. I cherish the simple pleasures of life. And that is one of the things that's kicking in here. It's that you're being drawn almost like back to basics, to go, picnic in sunshine, nice. It's just simple pleasures, because you have been committed to your new forward motion. You've already started it. Ace of Wands here. And you had plenty of ways that you was going to go, and you got to a point where it was like, yes, I know where I'm going to go. I feel okay about it now. And that is the end result of having to balance. You had multiple options of how you was going to go forward. And it's like, how am I going to balance what I love, Knight of Cups here, with the real world concerns, basically. So this has been a decision going on for a while, that this is where I'm wanting to go. And this is one where you're wanting to stay faithful to, here with Laertes, representing faithfulness. And if anything, it is bringing life back into you that may have been absent for a while we've all been locked indoors. Now, don't get me wrong. As a Pisces sun, I love being on my own, but that might be only child syndrome as well. I love my own space. I love my own company. That sounds weird, actually, but yeah, I'm not one of these people that needs to have somebody else there to feel happy or enjoy themselves, or but nevertheless, a whole year and a half of that can get a little bit tiresome. There's you need to have other people, if only to remind yourself how much you prefer your own company. There's, if you're that way out. But this period of isolation that is here has given you the chance to start cutting things out that don't mean a great deal to you, and have made you, well, I would normally say Princess of Pentacles, that's Page of Pentacles, that's my level up card. A level 1 complete, start level 2. So you're a complete beginner again, but you're a beginner on the next level. But here, as in a lot of Page of Pentacles, it's somebody writing. So there's that sense of studying and that sense of gaining more information, so that it's more sort of, the more you know, the less you know. Because the more you know, the more you realise that there is that you don't know. And this, I think this has been quite thrilling for you. But chasing after this has brought that Tower card into play, where certain things are crumbling down, which you might not have realised were linked. You may have, or that real world concerns are interfering with your path that you're seeing ahead of you. Now, I'm not particularly worried about that in the terms of the reading. In my own personal life, absolutely I'm worried about it, because I can take all of this as a Pisces sun. I've been through that process, so I can understand that. However, there is, and here's where we're getting into the future stuff. Because before we get into the future stuff, let's have a look at the past, where you've learnt a lesson for good or for ill. So we've got Knight of Pentacles, High Priestess, Six of Swords. So you've had an intuition about what was a better place to go to previously, but it was very, very slow progress, And again, it was, as much as you were building a foundation then, I'm not sure that you were able to fully carry out your plans, because, again, it was stressful because of the demands of the real world on the effects of your plans. And something happened where I think it's like your work is diverted. So Eight of Wands, Wheel of Fortune. So big change happens. Seven of Pentacles can be a card of harvest earned through hard work, or a neglected harvest. Now, on this particular card, it looks very much like a harvest earned through hard work. But the amount of change that's here, it's almost, with this Wheel of Fortune card, it's almost like there was a completely different harvest to what you had been looking at beforehand, and you went, oh, okay, I'll have this harvest then. Which makes sense, because it was so stressy working towards what you wanted to work towards back then. But now you're having a chance to do it again, and your intuition is correct in leading you after something that you love. However, that does involve, Five of Cups here, losing some things, but you need to remember that you still have what is important. This is a weird Five of Cups, this one. So it's got the sorrow, it hasn't really got the cups, but notice it has got that ship. So that's either someone heading off on the ship going to somewhere new, which I like that symbol, or more to the point, considering this is a very H.P. Lovecraft based tarot, it is a ship coming to pick these people up off this weird island where everyone's turning into fish monsters. So there's rescue potential there. Or part of it has already got away and you are left with what you are needing to have. That's the main message of the Five of Cups. If you think about it with the Rider-Waite, there's the two cups that remain upright. You've still got those, and let's be honest, they're all that you need. Um, yeah, because that boat is heading away, but I'm seeing that as almost there's something that you are losing that you may mourn, but it's not a bad thing that you've lost it. Because skill is being, because you are nearly there, Nine of Wands. And skill is being called of you. I think this particular Two of Swords, I don't think it's something that you're blind to. I think it's something that you are called to ignore. So there is some influence where you're going, yep, that's an issue, but I'm not going to let it bother me right now because I'm doing this. I'm not going to worry because I'm climbing that mountain right now. And when I come back down that mountain, then I can worry about it. And I actually think that that's a good thing because your efforts in the climbing that mountain are going to gain momentum, efficacy, and return basically as the moon fills. Because we've got underneath that Ace of Pentacles with the Temperance card. So Ace of Pentacles, grounded, material, 3D, real world, new beginning, with Temperance, which is the looking after, being looked after by angels, as well as that balance thing. And yet again, another Tower card. So let me see if I can shuffle this without my computer blowing up again. Now this is really interesting. So two cards come out. We have Three of Wands falling. Now I'm actually seeing this as removing blockages for your to your ships coming in because of the flavour of the two more important cards that are above it. That Ace of Pentacles and then the nearly as important Temperance card. But you are being led, it's almost like being led by angels to this final shattering of something that you want rid of it. It's a blockage to your ships coming in. That's the only way I can think to put it. Especially with, it comes with, now this deck has one extra major arcana card called the Artist. So it's representing the person who created the card. So it's representing, in this particular circumstance, what I want to say is it's representing some force that was directing your life, that's what's toppling. That is what is disappearing or crumbling. So it's like that external force of, let's say, because I'm a geek, you can tell I'm a geek. You're a comic book character, right? And let's say you're written by, well, let's say John Byrne or Grant Morrison, because they've both done these sort of stories. So you have a relationship to your comic book writer and artists, but there's the creative team, put it that way. But all of a sudden, you as comic book character are getting some self-motivation, some self-motility, I think would be a better word to say. You're getting your own authority because this creative team, they've created you and now you have been born. Now you are a thing unto yourself. You live your own life by your rules, not by the comic book writer's rules. So I really like that idea of, and I'm not saying that this creative or ruling force that had been there beforehand was negative, but I am saying that maybe, so this is more a real world influence than like some esoteric spiritual influence we're on about, that it wasn't giving you the freedom to go ahead in the way that you were wishing to go ahead. And this Tower card combined with this one gives you that freedom. It removes that blockage. It gives you a plan that you are happy with to move forward, and it enables you to totally transform. However, that will bring some form of conflict around between you and others, you know, whether it's friends that don't agree with what you're doing, or, you know, parents or some form of authority, or boss at work, or colleagues or something. But that's not something that you particularly need to worry about, because despite all the stresses, there's a rebirth through putting yourself through this stress. So this stressy period may carry on for a while. Nine of Swords here to Nine of Swords here. But you've got to remember that that's you stressing. You don't have to. But with them being nines, I always like to see the sense of rebirth. And it's funny. Oh, now, this particular card, it's immediately making me think of, well, I've been reading Vampirella recently. I've been making an effort to actually sit and read the comics that I love, you know, because for about a year I didn't. I was busy doing all this and the astrology study, and it's like, no, I'm going to have a few days reading comics, and I've been reading Vampirella. So that's a very Vampirella looking character, in that, apart from the amount of clothes, in that dress, and then the bats coming towards her. And the image that I am getting is, it's almost as if the bats are coming to remind you who you are. So some of these, now that's double-edged, because it's to remind you who you are in a positive way, but it's also to remind you who you are in a negative way as well. You know, where you've been less than stellar. Let's put it that way, because we also have, from the Angelarium, and this wasn't making sense to me until I realised that card, Zadkiel, the Angel of Mercy. Now, rather than interpret it, I'm just going to read from the book about this bit, because I think it speaks volumes, and it's going to mean something different to everybody, so I'm not going to mangle it. So, Zadkiel, Angel of Mercy, the one who metes out forgiveness, and the one who judges transgression. Zadkiel is the swift gavel as well as the crushing hammer. Those who have sinned against your fellow man, Zadkiel may relieve you of your punishment, but in asking you, submit yourself to the scales of the angel's judgment and wrath. Zadkiel sees all the cracks and seams of the soul, finds all the things we cover up to convince ourselves of the illusion of a moral existence. Zadkiel reminds us to reveal our failings openly and be judged by those that have the power to forgive. It is only the just who may make such reckoning. So there's a shadow side stock take going on, let's put it that way. But there's also a with that pile being finished or based by the King of Cups, you know what? That's okay. Where you've been less than stellar, maybe a little bit nasty, maybe malicious, maybe made a mistake, maybe lashed out. It's also done now. That is the past. That's the history. The history that's being brought back to you, but brought back to you to educate you to, yes, this is beautiful. Four of Wands, to make a commitment to the dream that you are wanting to pursue, and by this point you are pursuing. This Prince of Chalices isn't dreaming about the dream that's going to come forward. It's dreaming about how to do the dream better. That's the way I'm feeling it. Think about that level up image that I was talking about earlier, because it's also based by the Eight of Pentacles, the putting the work in. So you've committed yourself to a path that's, it's not easy, and there's going to be a ton, let's put it politely, a ton of self-revelation, realization, of coming to terms with those darker aspects of yourself, but also once you are not hiding from them, you have the ability to go, actually, you know what? There was a driving force or a skill there that's been useful. But as for the motive and the reasons, well, let's just learn the lesson and not do that again. Let's save it for a time when it is useful and not just destructive. So I think that there's this wonderful sense of, I don't want to say initiation because that's too immediate, too fast. And I don't believe that this is necessarily going to be as fast as what you would like it to be with these two chariots. Let's put it that way. You are going to have to put the work in with that that Eight of Pentacles there, and I'm sure there was another Eight of Pentacles somewhere. But there's a real, okay, so I messed up. You know what? It's in the past. It's okay. What I need to do is learn from that and not do it again. But also notice the skills that I gained in doing that, so I can keep those in reserve. Because we can do certain things in emotional extremes that we'd never necessarily think of doing. But the thing is, there's one thing in common. You were doing them. And so if you can do them in an emotional extreme, you can do them in a rational way where it is the right thing to do as well. That seems really important to me, because what I'm drawn here is not just Mehiel from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. Two cards came out. I'm saving the last one for the end of the reading. But it's not just Mehiel with representing restoration of life, but also Hares or Floros, here representing criticism. But what I want to say is I want to see it as constructive criticism, because other people are seeing that there is a change in you and that this is a new time for you and that you are redesigning you. And I think there may be some influence around you with this Hierophant. I'm not getting the sense of tradition so much as impersonal adherence to higher principles. You know, when all's said and done, the Hierophant can be a stuffy old pope, but can also be the living representation of God on earth, as the various churches believe their popes to be. Apart from all people are flawed and, you know, we're all sinners and all that business. But nevertheless, you know, there's an assumed or purported adherence to higher principles, spiritual principles going on here, which I think is, when coupled with that Fool card and the Knave of Swords, there's messages and information that comes to you that is useful for you and helps you in this self-analytical process. So when all is said and done, this tower moment that you are going through, stressy as it's going to be, you can make it a lot stressier than it needs to be, or you can just sit back and be witness and pick up the pieces afterwards, because I think those pieces are important. And there's going to be quite a few emotional reminders of, oh, I did that. Oh, sugar. But that's okay, because yes, you did. You know, there's no changing it now. You know, not unless you have one of the spirits come and rewrite your past for you, which can happen, but is probably not the most practical thing to hope for. So let's have a look at the hopes and fears here. So we've got the Lovers card, the Ten of Wands, the Two of Cups. Just as much as you're committed to this new path, you're scared of committing to this new path. You're worried about the burden that it will bring on and whether you will then ever actually get to the destination that you're hoping to. And if that destination actually contains a little bit of companionship, lovers and two of cups together, okay, I don't like relationship readings, but can't deny those two. It's also in hopes and fears. So it's also talking about you committing to, I'm going to say, having the availability to commit to somebody else, having the strength to commit to the parts of yourself that you need to commit to, and to commit to whatever this path is that you think you're committed now. But I'm tempted to say that you think you're committed, but the half of these Nine of Swords stresses wouldn't be there if you were totally sure you were committed. So but yes, you have got to remain faithful to that idea that I am committed to this. But you're going to need all the tools and that learning about your shadow side to fully be committed to it, to literally put your money where your mouth is. So the final outcome cards. Oh, stop stressing, Pisces. Nine of Swords again. But this one, I've been talking for too long today. This particular Nine of Swords, I love. Because, yeah, you can talk about the stress and the nightmares, but it's also the swords are laid on the floor in a magic circle, in a circle of summoning, in a circle of banishment even, because if a circle can summon, a circle can banish. So it's almost like you are putting those stresses and worries up for a sacrifice, going, there you go. I accept them. I'm aware that they're there. Time to let them go. Time to simplify your life. Because information will keep coming to you that assists that process. But underlying all of that is a slow, subtle sense of victory. This is not the end of the story by a long chalk. You've got a long, long way to go after here. So, whereas I said I didn't want to use the phrase initiation, and I still don't, but this is feeling like the work that you would do prior to reaching that point of initiation into whatever particular sacred mystery you want to be initiated into, or whatever tradition you want to be, because they all demand that same level of self-knowledge and self-awareness. So finally, and the reason I'm so positive about it as well, finally, the tone of the reading was decided by this Guardian Angel card. This is the Guardian Angel of Young Adults. I am guided and protected as I begin to choose my path in life. So that's what this Tower thing is about. You've already committed, but you've committed to something that's a little bit woolly in your mind. And this process is going to make you go, okay, I had the basic outlines, now I can colour it in, and now I can put in the fine detail. And more importantly, it's me putting in the fine detail, not my artist, not my comic book creator, not my parents, my boss, the state, whatever. Me. I'm doing this. I am my own creative force. And then finally, what I had been saving till last, very finally, honestly finally this time. Ayel Lahir, representing, or Ayel Lahir, I think is probably better, but representing success, astrologically. And here with Shax representing more on violence on the bottom of the card. It's almost like that success is in spite of anything else that might have been going on in the outside world. You've got that success. It's happening. It's going for it. This is, well, I said it was going to be a big reading, Pisces, didn't I? I mean, certainly when it melted my computer, what? God, how long have I been going? I need to shut up now. I've been going half an hour. But when it melted my computer earlier, it was showing it's a big reading. This is a really, I'm not sure astrologically what's going on for you, because all of the big action is with fixed signs at the moment. So not sure what particular transit might be activating this for mutable signs. But this is a big time for you. Quite an internal time. Quite a, as I was saying, quite a being on your own time. What was it? Nine of Pentacles underlying the current events, and Four of Swords behind that tower. But even that Four of Swords indicates, one, that there's healing by being on your own, and two, I love that beaver. I don't know much more to say apart from I love that beaver. It's just the way it's looking around it. I mean, it could be a groundhog, thinking about it, because I can't see a beaver tail. The way it's, so if we take that groundhog image, the way it's looking, it can't see its own shadow. It is not going to be a long winter. And the way it's looking, there's no like Groundhog Day imagery to go with that at all. Yeah, that must be a groundhog, because it's not got a big like flat beaver tail. But I love that also, this, the tower and the sun, because if you notice, it's the tower and the sun, but the sun is coming up behind the tower. Your view of whatever it is that will make you happy is being revealed. It's being less obscured. So this is a really big time for you. Do the work, have the stress, feel the stress, let go of the stress. What's done is done. It's what you do now that matters. That's a perfect place to end, isn't it, Pisces? So, if this means anything to you, comment down below, because it would be nice to know that this reading is for more Pisces than just me. That was eerie. But also, you know, hit that like button, don't forget that one, and go and watch your moon and your rising for some more trivial readings than this one, to be quite honest. There's been some big readings this month, but nothing as big as you've got the trophy this month, Pisces. You have the trophy for the biggest reading. Yeah. I will see you at the new moon readings, and of course my new moon show with David. Cheers.